all those very specific stats. But, you know, be thinking of other questions, be thinking of other things. We've got an hour. So if there's other stuff about MLS that you want to know about, or that you've, you know, heard and you're like, is that true? What's going on? You know,
let's debunk the mysteries.
Right?
Yeah.
Mark is here to answer those questions. This is your MLS. This is something you guys pay dues towards. So, you know, make sure you're using it to the best that you possibly can.
Yeah.
So I want to get started on time. So we are going to, this is being recorded, and we will definitely get this sent out to everybody. Kimberly just put a question. She wants to see, how do you break down stats between cities, neighborhoods? I know you talked about, we're going to go through, how do you do it by a school district? So
okay.
If you've got your MLS open and you know, you're sitting behind your computer, follow along. And if Mark does something and you're like, wait a second, raise your hand and ask. Kimberly wants to know, how do you pull a townhome versus a single family?
Okay, good.
See, these are the things. These are the things I want to help you with.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So Kimberly, why? I love your questions. So let me find out a little bit about, where do you like to search? Where's your home? You know, where's your base?
I think she may have said, I mean, she's putting in questions, but I think she said she may have had a call coming in. So I don't know if that came in.
No worries. No worries.
And it looks like I think it's AJ asked a question. I've been noticing that school district boundaries have been missing on some of the MLS listing areas, but not all, but some.
Oh, but some, yeah. AJ, I noticed that as well. I've already reported it up the ladder. CoreLogic knows that they need to get that fixed pronto. And specifically, and this is probably a great place to start this whole conversation of, you know, the concept of how should I search, meaning, and here's probably the best part to start sharing the screen. And so I've got a, where are you? Let's go there. So here's a matrix search screen, basic matrix search screen. And, you know, down there on the lower left-hand side, you've got the different ways to start identifying location. You know, little just tricks and tips here, kind of thing. If I type in Santa Clara in the county area, then only the cities in Santa Clara County show up, and only the areas within those cities show up. So those three boxes are linked together. You do not have to start with you don't have to start with county though. You know, you can go right to San Jose. Go right to San Jose. My area numbers have been, you know, filed down to just those in San Jose. And if you know, if you work with areas and you know where those areas are, you can just go straight to areas and put in the area number, area 10 for Willow Glen in this situation. But let's talk about the challenges of MLS areas. And this absolutely all relates back to statistics.
I was going to admit somebody in and I muted you. Sorry, Mark.
There we go. I was saying that, you know, you can enter in just the area directly, but I want to talk about MLS areas because this does relate back to building statistics as well. What I've asked for here is, and I'm just going to do all the single family active listings in area 10, which is Willow Glen. Okay. And if I move over to the map, I clicked on the map tab up here. Here's the Willow Glen area. Remember, you've got some options for how to view a map over there on the upper left-hand side. I can change that over to from the satellite image to the map image, right? Makes it sometimes a little easier to see. But the true question is this: where is Area 10? Right? It's sort of like, where is Area 51? And there actually is an Area 51 in the MLS. But where does it start and stop? Okay. there are ways to find out. And I'm going to take you to what looks like a stack of papers here at the top of the map. These are our boundaries, right? And this is what AJ was referring to when he noticed that, some of the school boundaries were in there. And this is what we've asked CoreLogic to look into immediately. But if I come down to MLS area, it will actually lay in the MLS area lines. Okay, there they are. Now, I'm going to take you down to the land of what? MLS areas were drawn up well over 20 years ago now. They were laid out on boardroom tables, big giant, AAA maps, and the leading agents of the day got together and drew the lines on the map because associations needed to know as they were building their tours, right? You have the Wednesday tour in Cambria and that kind of stuff. They needed to know which part of town went with which tour. Evergreen went that direction, Blossom Valley went this direction, Milpitas went, right? But where were the lines? And that's what you're seeing here. You're seeing the lines drawn out many, many years ago by the real estate professionals to define what was going on with the tours. But, and I'll give you the example. Is that it? No. I'm looking for Communication Hill. And so let's see, up 85 area, it's right in here, right?
It's up,
right,
it's
right
up
there.
more. I just saw it. There,
Right
there we go.
Okay. If I close in on this map, and I'm going to do a little bit of maneuvering here, we're going to zoom way in on this. At one time, the line for 12, between 12 and 11, actually was up in here. It came across this park right here. Why? Because back in the day when they drew the lines, that condominium complex didn't exist. They put the condo complex in, but they forgot to change the line. So it was running right through the park, right through the pool. I've seen this in Santa Cruz County, notorious for that sort of stuff. So they sort of drew the lines and then walked away. And we actually have challenges now and then in getting lines moved over to where they make sense, okay? And here's one of the prime areas where it just doesn't make a lot of sense. So here's Los Gatos, area 16, okay? And there's area 14 right there going into Cambrian. But look what's in the middle of them here. Rather than draw the line down Blossom Hill Road, which you'd think would be the appropriate thing to do, it took this shape right here. In fact, if you go in close enough, it comes down, what is this? Los Gatos Almaden Road. Everything on the right side of the street is in one area. Everything on the left side of the street's in Los Gatos. And then it crisscrosses back and forth through these three neighborhoods, right? Now, a long time ago, I went to that neighborhood, okay? Because I had to see what is the difference between these two houses. This is Los Gatos. This is Willow Glen. They are actually in the same San Jose zip code. But when you drive down the street, there is no difference. It's the exact same layout. They were built at the exact same time. So some of the lines can just be a little crazy. It's hard, but so that's the problem inside of the MLS. The problem outside of the MLS with the consumer, there has never been a consumer who has said, I want a home in area 16. Consumers can't see the areas. They have no idea they exist unless you guys tell them, right? The difference between 16 and 15. The problem there, are we getting into fair housing issues now, right? It has to be on this side of the line because I want the Los Gatos sticker versus that side of the line, which is the San Jose sticker. It's a little tricky. The key thing is, if you're searching by MLS area and your client is searching by zip code, your searches will never match. You will always be looking at two different sets of results. So the question to ask your customer is, how do you like to search? Based on what part of town you're in, how do you like to search? Are you searching by zip code? Are you searching by school district? right? There's another way of doing it. Searching by school district. Are you searching by the whole city? And at that point, yeah, it's important to know where city lines are, and you can find those on that map. Remember, you can look at those. But remember, and I'm thinking the city. There is the city of Saratoga. For anybody familiar with it, it goes down Quito Road, okay, from Montecito all the way down to Prospect Avenue. In fact, but I grew up on that road, so I knew this one little key characteristic. And my dad was a realtor. Every time you cross a bridge, you go into a different city. You'd switch back and forth between Saratoga and sometimes Montecito, sometimes Campbell. Every time you cross a bridge, there are portions of most of Saratoga is, if you're going towards Prospect Road, most of Saratoga is on the left-hand side, but there's this tiny little patch of homes on the right-hand side of the road down by McCoy Avenue that are actually in the 95070 zip code, okay? So I see AJ up there smiling like he's experienced this before. AJ, have you?
I live in that area. I live on Espasi off of Quito.
Oh yeah.
And I put it in the text saying same situation with border of Campbell, Los Gatos, Saratoga, and San Jose.
Oh yeah.
It's exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just interesting. And people want that little portion of McCoy because
Correct.
It has 95070.
That's why I love that whole Campbell, Los Gatos, Saratoga, because there are portions of San Jose inside of Campbell, islands of San Jose inside the city of Campbell. There are islands of unincorporated Santa Clara County inside the city of Campbell, kind of stuff. So this is where you, as the business professional in this sort of crazy, who owns the lines and how did they get there? Another area that can be tricky for those of you that work the Los Gatos, Saratoga area is back in what's called Austin Corners. That's where the old La Hacienda used to be. But back in there, you could have a Los Gatos zip code, but your kids go to Saratoga schools, kind of stuff. So now we've got the whole city, the city line mixed up with the school district line. It's just, you got to know your areas really well. The one place that we found them, and I'm going to go back to a share again. The one place that seems that they're all located right now is your MLS. So let's reset this map and take a look at some of the options, and pull this out. There we go. So those are your MLS areas. Okay. Interesting to note, if you move up here towards, look how big the areas are up in San Mateo County. Up there, they did them almost by neighborhoods. Okay. You get into Santa Clara County, we're more into, the city areas, that kind of stuff, but watch out. Where's that borderline between Cupertino and Sunnyvale, right? As it goes down Wolf Road, because it's not always both sides of the road. Look at the size of Area 1. They've never, it's the same as it was way back when. It's from Morgan Hill all the way down to Gilroy on both sides of the highway, kind of stuff. So you need to know where your areas are. That's important.
Mark, can I ask a question, Mark?
You bet.
Okay. So when you did that stack of paper and you showed those things, right? And I use that quite a bit. And then you see that you can search by MLS area when you go to the search criteria.
Right.
But then I want to search by, let's say, neighborhood, then I can't. What is the reason why in MLS search, matrix search, we have not taken some of these criteria and put it on the search side, because it would be very helpful.
Right. AJ, the reason I've heard for many years now is we cannot find an authority, a sole authority that will validate these lines. Many of these lines for neighborhoods were given to the city by whoever the primary builder was at the time. And they just started naming them up. I mean, there's some names down here. Rose Sartoret, right? I've lived in Santa, I was born in Saratoga, and there's some areas that I don't know. I know Fruitvale, the Golden Triangle. I always thought that was a real estate term. I didn't know it was a neighborhood term. Parker Ranch, never heard of it. kind of stuff. So, AJ, the challenge is we can't find a single authority who will, who will say those are the neighborhood lines, because Google's neighborhoods are different from our neighborhoods, which are different than Zillow neighborhoods. There's no one authority.
So question for you, Mark, is I get it that it is not definitive. So MLS listings doesn't want to then go out and give this and then come back to bite them saying, hey, you gave me this boundary and it is not true. And people start complaining or, but having a tool right now, what I do, Mark, is I will look at the neighborhood or the school and I'll draw my own polygon.
Yes, I like it.
Is there a tool that say, okay, we are not responsible for these boundaries, but we'll draw it for you, kind of thing? And is that possible? Can that be done where you say, hey, we're not responsible, but what we can do is we can transfer that boundary to you. You can search in that boundary.
We cannot transfer it to the, at this point, we can't transfer it to the consumer, because we only move it to the professional, because you paid your subscription. You can move the results of that to your client, absolutely. But we will not ship, we won't ship area lines or zones directly to the consumer at this point.
I was not talking consumer, just to professionals like us, so that it becomes easy. So that if, let's say I want to search Fruitvale, you gave an example, and I want to search that neighborhood. All you do is telling me that, hey, instead of me going and drawing out a polygon and stretching it out, can I just have that, hey, that can be my search criteria?
Absolutely. So let me give you an example, and I'm going to go over here to my, come on up. Go over here to my dashboard. Okay, so I clicked on my matrix. It brought me to my dashboard. These are the searches that I have saved. For one reason or another, I'm taking a look at what's coming in from some different brokers. I was doing a study on new listings coming in the brokers. But look at this one I've got right here, beachfront template. And I'm going to open that up. I'm going to give it a click. Oh, there are no listings right there, but the map is there. The map I drew, I drew this long time ago. And it was primarily for this section right here. The agent was saying, Mark, I only sell beachfront property. That's it. If you can't smell the seaweed, I don't want to sell it, kind of stuff. So I showed her how to build these areas all the way down the coast. So as an example, as you were talking about, we were also using the polygon tool up here, up at the very top, right in the middle. And always remember when you're drawing shapes, one click to start, okay? And then you move your mouse to where you want to go next. So I'm going to go down a little bit. Now, I started, out here in the ocean. That's fine. Let's go here. I'll go right to the mouth of the river. Now I'm going to come in just a little bit. And now I'm going to come back down the coast, okay? One click every time I change direction, every time in any way I give it another click to anchor it, okay? And let's come in a little bit. Now that little area that's crossed over each other, that's fine. The points can can lock over each other. I can keep drawing these shapes all the way down the coast, okay? Then what I do, and I'm gonna get rid of some shapes here. What's this circle doing here? Take your mouse, put it on top of the shape, and you get an option for delete. Delete that shape. I'm going to delete all these shapes. Okay. Oops. Delete. That'll be good to me. There we go. Let me show you another map option here. Let's see, where would be the place to? Oh, right here. For those of you familiar with my favorite Santa Cruz area, I'm going to pull this up a little bit. Okay, so this is 41st Avenue in Santa Cruz, right? Coming down to the water. When you get to this section right here, this Portola Drive and 41st Avenue, and even all the way down to the corner, on the weekends, you can't even get your car to move. And it is just gridlock because it's a fun place to be. So you may say, I like all this coastal area, but I'm going to draw a brand new shape. And I'm going to put that shape right here. Okay, all the way down, because your client says, I love this part of town, but I don't want to live right there on that corner. So draw another shape, go to the red dot and tell it to exclude that shape. So you can draw the bigger shape and then pull parts out that you don't want. Really I like it around things like fire stations, emergency rooms, helicopter landing pads, all that kind of stuff. Love the neighborhood. Keep me away from that. That sort of stuff. Okay.
Can you do that one more time, Mark?
You bet. I'm going to come, let's go over here to Santa Cruz Harbor. Crazy town, beautiful country, but on the weekends, absolutely berserk. I don't want to live along Lake Avenue right here. So I grab one of my drawing tools, usually the polygon, because it's that one that you can sort of use on any shape. And I'm going to sketch this out. This is a whole busy little neighborhood right here. And so I draw my shape every time I change direction, right? And I go right back to where I started. You always got to go back to where you started. Put your mouse on the red dot and say exclude that shape. Even these shapes can be, right? I can, take that out. So, okay. And by the way, while I'm here, just so you know, because this is pretty cool. Who owns, there's this house right out on the end of this.
Is that autosave?
It does not auto save, but I would use my save button down here in the lower left to save it. And it's asking me, hey, Mark, do you want to update the template that you already had? Or do you want to save this as a brand new search? And I'm going to tell, in this instance, I'm going to say, update my beachfront template for me. Okay. Overwrite it, kind of stuff. It said, everything good, Mark? Remember, that's the button that gets it on the dashboard. That's where I picked this one up originally because it was quick, it was fast, kind of stuff. Here's the save. Okay. The other fun question, I was just, new tool that not new, but newish. I'll go that much. I'm trying to find it again. I'll just go right there. Come down to any piece of property, click on the property, and it will tell you exactly who it is, what it is, where it is. Take you right to the tax record if you want to. Take a look at the lot dimensions, right? Draw the lot dimensions on. You can do this with any piece of property that's in our system. This one was on the market at some point back in last sold in 2016. So it's got an MLS listings picture there for you as well. So one of those hidden things in the map they don't tell you about unless you come to training. Now you can hold that one over your friends. Say you should have been to class. Jody puts a great event on.
Mark, I have
AJ's got a
question for you.
question.
You bet.
Mark,
Hi,
I have
AJ.
a question for you. So yes, absolutely. So I've been using those those saved this thing in templates, but right in there when you were pulling it up and say save beachfront template, there was the key thing there, which was 25 max. And our problem in the South Bay is if I create a template, I will have more than 25 templates. That's for given. So this is the reason I don't create templates, Mark. So this is why I was asking you. And remember also that these templates sometimes can vary based on the buyers I have, right? Because they can vary a little bit. I can create generic templates. You're right. I can say, hey, this is the school, this is the stuff. So it doesn't solve my problem, Mark, that on ad hoc basis, if I had a way to either have a lot more templates, more than 25,
okay,
or I may be like, hey, I'm seeing a school boundary or I'm seeing a neighborhood. I just want to have, for today's search, I want to have that as the boundary. And so that's why I was talking to you is, hey, can I just go to that little stack of paper, say, hey, this is my neighborhood here. I know it is not definitive. Can I search on this neighborhood for this particular ad hoc search? Those are the things that will help. Or having many more templates and having many more saved search where I can create something like this. And oh, by the way, I just learned something new from you, which was excluding, I have not used it, I'm going to use it.
Yeah. Now remember, great comment, absolute fantastic comments, good feedback. Remember that you, on the dashboard, it can only save 25. But you can, if you don't choose to save it on the dashboard, it winds up in my saved searches right here. And your saved searches can be an unlimited list. So I could have, the Rose Garden template, the, Santana Row template, the, I'm going to date myself here by saying, oh, Michelle, what's the elementary school over by you? Like Country Lane?
Okay.
Country Lane template, right?
Oh, I'm in the Camel School District. Sorry, Mark.
Oh, that was in Moreland, yeah.
It's Moreland.
So you can have as many templates as you want, but you can only store, only 25 of them can wind up in this favorite search area.
Cool.
All the rest will be in your My Matrix Save Searches environment.
Gotcha. So what you will not happen, Mark, is that when it is on the dashboard, I can quickly see who's the active user and what they are doing. When it is in the Save Searches list, then I have to just go to the Save Search list and
pick it up from there.
Yeah, pick it
Right.
up from there. Got it. No, so I was kind of equating 25 to that. Hey, I can only do 25, but that's okay. You can have infinite number of them, but yeah, okay.
And can you move stuff off of your, so to his point, say you've got active clients looking at a specific area, can you unfavorite and favorite things?
Oh yes, absolutely. You can, put them on the favorite list, take them off the favorite list, but leave them, store them over there in the My Favorite Searches area, right? Pulling up and down as you need them. Absolutely.
I wonder if you could call them by your clients, name them to kind of help you, like, Bob Smith. Yeah. And then that way, and then when they're not Bob Smith anymore, then you just change them back to
do a name
whatever
change.
that search was. Yeah,
just change the file name and just put it back to what it was. Everybody, I always say everybody organizes in a different way. And some people, and I pick on my wife because of this, because she's the mastermind of this thing. I work on a desk that is pretty cleaned up, pretty straightforward, with little stacks of paper. I know what's in. She works in major stacks of paper, but she knows exactly where each piece of paper is in the stack. And if you move her stack, now she's unorganized. So everyone sorts and organizes differently. So you got to find your way to make the search tool work for you.
And can you get email alerts on those? I'm just asking questions because I don't know. So like if something pops up, then it would come up.
It sure will. Yeah. So let's move over to the stats world, because the map applies over there as well. And did you guys all see that Michelle Ronco snuck in the room and we didn't notice? Just so you know, she's hanging out in the back, kind of stuff.
And I'm 0 for 1 on the question, so I'm going to try to step it up here.
Oh, okay. So let's go back to my Matrix screen again. All right. So, okay, for those of you that have seen Michelle in one of the numerous events that she's done over the years relating to the Aculus statistics, that Aculus brings you these really good looking statistics, reports, graphics, branded, and broken down in multiple ways, school districts, MLS areas, zip codes, that kind of stuff. Well, Matrix has a tool that can do a similar thing, but it's not as pretty. Okay. It's very, Michelle, you got an adjective? Rustic?
Industrial.
Industrial. Thank you. That's the perfect word. It's located right up here, right in the middle of the screen. Up at the very top, it says stats. Okay, and it brings you to this screen. Now you can see it's laid out very similar to a standard Matrix search screen. And so want to break down the screen a little bit for you here, so you can see what we got. And I'm going to start over here on the far left-hand side. We've got a couple of tabs available to you. You've got we're on the preset tab right now. And so these are reports that are already built, right? They're get you started kind of thing. You've got a customized capability. you want to put your own stats together, your own timelines, your own series of stats, you know, to compare on the same chart or to stand alone, right? One item per chart. And then I want to customize the grouping, group all this stuff by the city, by the list price, by the month. There's a lot of different options here, including, you know, I want my color palette to be chocolate, always a nice selection. And I want the fill style to be you know, you get to play around with it a little bit. It's got just a little bit of marketing spark to it. Okay. And Michelle's got a lot better stuff. Okay. But if you're looking for an industrial report, maybe this is the place to come. The last tab is grayed out right now because I have to have something on the screen before I can save it. So I can, you know, for those customers, AJ, you could do, you know, Bob and Ted's excellent median price per square foot report, chart, graph kind of thing. Okay. Now it works the same way that your matrix search tool does. Okay. So I'm just going to do, let's do 95070 hometown kind of thing. Coming down to property type, residential wants to deliver everything to me. So this is where you can separate out that single family from the condo and townhouse environment. Okay. You can select them individually. But if you need, and I highly recommend you do this, if I want 2 items, condominiums and townhomes, I'm on a PC. So I hold my control button down and select the other one. If you're on a Mac, you hold your command button down and you select the other one. Now, condominiums and townhomes together, for the simple reason that you never know what the listing agent called it. This is supposed to be, you know, property types, structure types, right? Townhomes are an architectural style, not a legal holding. Believe you like to say common interest, Michelle. But always search them together to make sure you got it right, because you never know what the listing agent put in. Okay, so that's the tip of the day when you're doing building types over here. Now, you can do, I only want the, you know, only between $1 million, and it's going to add 3 zeros, remember, and $2 million. And I only want statistics on things with 3 bedrooms and total of 2 baths, right? You can grind down your statistic to eventually you're going to get like 2. Okay. So, but it works the exact same way that MLS listings does, that the matrix tool does. Let me back a few
Can I
of
ask
these
a
out.
question?
Go ahead.
I see age, and I know that means age of the house, but
Right.
here's something for you. Let's say the house was built in 1962,
Yeah.
but it was remodeled in, you know, 1980 and 99, and then it was updated in 2000. So is it going to give the age of the actual home, or maybe when it was last remodeled because of permits?
It's going to give you the age of the structure itself, the foundation, right? When was that thing built? You know, well, it was built in 1922, but as you said, they've been doing remodeling all along. And in the last one, they tore everything down but one wall and rebuilt the whole thing again. Michelle, is that called the functional age? I'm missing the term.
I don't remember. Yeah, no, I don't remember. But
yeah, there's something there's a new term that they're trying to implement on a wider basis to really help people define between, okay, when was it built versus at what point was it given some kind of major remodel, right? New plumbing, new roof, new siding, whatever it is, but we're not there yet. So this is going to be the actual age of the property. Question marks can sometimes give you, if they don't give you what it is, define what it is, they will tell you how to use it. Okay. So you could do, let me take care of that. Oops.
And then on stories, is that kind of the same thing?
What's that?
Like on stories, my parents' house, for example, was originally 1 story. Everything in the neighborhood is 1 story, but they added on, so theirs is now 2.
See, and now that's going to depend then on your county, right? How does the county permit department carry it, and how is the assessor carrying it? And we all know that sometimes that number that they've got in the record department is not the same of what you see in at the house.
Got it.
So here in the 10 plus, meaning 10 years old or newer, right? Versus 10 years old and older kind of thing. So if you really want a new home, 2 plus, that's going to give you the statistics in Saratoga for all condominiums and townhomes. And I only, I can filter stuff in and out. Let's go build this while we're here so you can see what it looks like and you can see how we're going to shape it. And I'm just going to go to one of my presets over there on the left. Okay. And let's do, oh boy, want to go here, Michelle? Months of inventory.
Great stat.
And here's my only generate button. There's no other place you can go. You've got to go to this button in the lower left corner. And there it is. Okay. Now it's not the prettiest thing in the world, right? And you may be saying, Mark, why don't you just give me the data? Give me the actual numbers. Well, that is available here on this tab up here just above the chart, right? I can get the raw data itself. And if you like Excel, who doesn't? Here's my export it to a CSV file, to an Excel file. I can take the raw numbers, put them over into Excel, and with just some basic skills over in the Excel world using their charting capability, you can pretty this up real good, as they say. If you don't know how to, if that's not your forte, working in Excel, find yourself a 14-year-old. They all know how to use them like crazy. I call my daughters. They're good at it. Hey, let's go back. I'm going to go back to the chart, and I'm gonna come off share just for a second, and I want to open up the mic. I want to see where what's your comfort level right now with just some very easy chart layouts. Anybody? Bueller?
Questions, thoughts? You guys have all of this knowledge sitting right here. What kind of questions do you have on charts? Now is the time. There we go. AJ, I think. There we go.
No, I don't have any questions. Mark and Michelle, I know them very well, and they come to our office Zooms quite a few times, and I just banter with them. So I love it. I try to give them a hard time, but
yes.
no, everything that you have shown is wonderful. Just got to learn a few new things. But
yeah, bits and pieces. I'm a big believer in the I'll give you an example. I've got this client over in Santa Cruz, and when we got together, remember when we used to meet as people, real people in the same room? She would walk into the room, sit down, and 10 minutes later, she'd stand up and walk out again. And at first I was sort of offended. And then I just got to know that, because she told me off to the side, she says, "No, Mark, I just come to learn one thing. I always learn one good thing from you. So I get my one thing and then I leave." Because I can go on and train forever. Michelle knows I can talk forever, certainly. I can do hours of matrix training, but I really like to, if I can just give you a few good things you can work with, go out, try them, come back. Jody's got these meetings set up on the last Monday it is of every month. Come on back and ask another question. Let's dive into another topic. Okay. Hey, while I'm here, I want to do a little customization just to show you that before we move over into the land of Michelle's better reports. Let's play a little bit with this while we're here. I've got a chart type option that I like to work. I'm in what's called a smooth area now. The line is nice and just rolls right along. Kind of stuff. You can cut it back to a smooth line, so it's the line only without filling in the line, kind of stuff. So when you get to this point, play around with this idea of different types of charts, different visuals for the same data. Now you're probably saying to yourself, "Wait a second, Mark, that looks like just the other one, but the line's real jagged." Now what this is look at, I'm using 3 years, and I've told it to deliver it to me in the column view. So what you're looking at is 36 columns all smashed up right next to each other. Okay. So sometimes the chart, the design of the chart doesn't really meet the data you're trying to show. Okay. Michelle's much better at explaining this kind of stuff. So play around with your types. Okay. Let's go with just the area. Gonna change the color. Let's go to that chocolate color down here, and we'll do a little. Let's give it a little 3D, and now hit generate, and there you go. A lot of different ways to play with this data. All right. Now you're thinking, okay, I got it on the screen. Now what do I do with it? Right. Here's where you can use your snipping tools. Okay. These, could make a good social media post, right? You do it on, just a specific neighborhood because you drew the map. Remember, the map is available over here, so you can draw out very specific neighborhoods that you know of, kind of stuff. I want to take this, I want to make a social media post out of it. So I got to get it off this screen right here. For those of you in the PC world, each of you already has built into your computer. You'll look at the very bottom in the middle of my screen. It says snipping tool down there. This is sitting in your computer. If you've never used it before, come over to the bottom left corner of the screen. Okay. You'll see a little magnifying glass there. You're going to go search for it in your computer. Okay. And right down there at the very bottom, type in the word snip, and it goes out and it finds it for you. It's now right here. The best match is right there at the top of your screen. You can put it like I did. You could tack it to the bottom of the screen. Always nice to have it there. Here's how it works. I get whatever I want on the screen and I click on my snipping tool. Okay. Here's the menu for it right here. I'm going to bring it down so you can see it. I want a new snip. And I just want to pull, I'm going to pull from here. I hold my mouse button down and I drag my mouse to create the box that I want. Let's take it from right there. Nope, let's add the legend. Add the legend in there so we know what we're looking at. When you get it to where you want it, you let your mouse go. And that is now a picture that you can copy, you can save, you can send it to somebody, include it in an email to your client, right? This is that thing that, your client starts to ask you about. So, what is the months of inventory for single family homes in the Willow Glen area, right? But I want to be on that side of Cambrian and on that side of Meridian, and break it down for me by months if you could, right? Very easy to do, right? The key thing is this, and I know this is probably one of the toughest things for anybody of any profession. If you want to be able to do it quick to really impress your client, you got to practice beforehand. Okay. It's sort of like listing management. I tell people who are, I say, what class Mark should I take? And I'll say listing management. And they'll say, well, I don't have a listing. And I'll return with, but when you get a listing, you're going to want to know how to use the tool. So learn how to do it now. Okay. Play with statistics, start small, come back next month to Jody and Scores MLS on Mondays show, and we'll go into that next layer. But remember, it acts just like Matrix. You can draw on the map, you can define your own neighborhoods, you can look at school districts, you can work by zip codes, because you asked your client, say, Michelle, how are you searching over on realtor.com? So I know how to search over here, and we have the same numbers together when we meet up. Okay.
I have a couple of comments, Mark. Also, you talked about different shapes and things like that, and practice with different shapes on the graphs.
Right.
One of the things, the shapes become very important, and you had only shown one variable. But when you do two variables, that's when the shapes become very important as to which shape to use.
Yes.
Because if you're going to do two variables and not do the different kinds, then it gets very confusing. So maybe you can have, with two variables, you can use line and columns and
right, exactly. And that's definitely more of an area. It's probably a great segue over to Michelle, because she and I have been in situations. You've got a great one now that's using, I think, columns for columns for volume, and then a trend line for median price. You incorporate two different elements on the same chart to tell two different stories at the same time, but sometimes those two elements don't work well together, right? You don't want to try and do this in a rush for the first time to impress that great client that you need. spend some time with it, or see what Michelle has to offer in the stuff that's already all made up, because
Right.
she's got some really cool charts that are all ready to go.
And I wanted to make one more comment for your snipping tool for Mac and stuff.
Yeah.
I do this very fast. Is you can, from MLS listings, from if you've opened it in a browser, you can just drag and drop it into wherever you want to drop it,
Yeah.
into your email and stuff. I'm just dragging and dropping directly.
So
From,
you're on a Mac and you're doing that Command-Shift-4?
no, just dragging,
Oh,
just
you
my
just drag.
mouse.
Okay.
Just mouse and drag. I just did it too because I was like, I haven't done it in a while, but I used to do it all the time. I just drag it and it comes with the whole thing. It just brings the entire chart with the legend, with all the stuff, and just brings it. And I
Wow.
can put it in a PDF or
See,
something.
this is why I like coming to these meetings.
This is just, it is so easy and so fast. Man.
This,
Yeah.
this is the teacher learning how to do stuff here in this
So,
class.
well, no, I don't want, I won't say teacher, but it is a very fast way for me to do. And
Well,
it is
now I'm going to
very
have to have
easy.
Miranda and Michelle show me how to do that, AJ. Literally in my studio here, many years ago, I've always been a PC guy, but hey, more than, I'm going to go 25, maybe 30% of you are Mac folk, Michelle, absolute Miranda. So I work a PC with my right hand and I work a Mac with my left hand. And my brain is like splitting like a canoe in the middle at some point. So, hey, Michelle.
Yes, Mark.
Show us some of the goodies over there on the Aculus side, because you too can search median sale price by zip code, right?
You can. I mean, I was going to tell you, I mean, as a hint in terms of when you're setting up the graph. So the beauty of Matrix, the Aculus market reports are set up to be kind of a marketing tool, right? Not too much data. We want them to call you, right? If you give everybody all the data, then they don't call you. So it's like enough to have the conversation, not so much they don't need you. And so we've always kind of designed it with that in mind. And we know that the palatable kind of data is about 2 years at most. So we'll have rolling 90 days, we'll have 30 days, we'll have these things that kind of make it easier to do a consistent marketing campaign. When someone says, no, I want to know the ROI in this, zip code for the last 10 years, well, then Matrix is going to be amazing for you because you can go kind of dig that out. But the hint is that lines usually have associated data. So you're going to do things that have lines are going to be like median price, new listings, closed sales. And so you're going to want to show continuous change and movement, where bar charts are going to show you something that's like finite, right? With like certain per month. So, usually like days on market, it could be used either way, but days on market, comparing relative months or year over year bar charts. So you're going to want to show lines when you're doing like month to month continuous movement, and bar charts where you're showing like a very finite time or stat. So I don't know if that's more confusing, but if you're going to use Matrix, you're going to have to make those kinds of decisions. So that's usually the rule of thumb. Anyway, they're like, why did she come on here? All right, let me show you. We were doing just fine with Mark. Well, one of the things that I wanted to share were the web widgets. Mark, is that where you were heading or not where you were heading?
Yeah, I think we can go web widgets because those are, I've always pointed out that we love to hide our statistics. We tuck them back into the corners of the MLS sometimes.
We want to do stuff that no one can find. Yeah, like all this wonderful stuff. Well, when you were talking about the snippet, right? And the snippet is particularly interesting for this. So MLSlistings.com, a lot of people aren't aware that MLS Listings actually has its own consumer facing website, right? So MLSlistings.com, not pro. And you can kind of search, homes and things like you see here. But you can also go to this media center. I don't have that cool little feature that Mark has that highlights it, but it's here. If I just move my mouse a lot, media center. And with the media center, you have what we call here on the left-hand side, interactive market snapshots. Now, new is a little misleading because it's been up for a while, but we have to talk to engineering about taking that down. But these are great interactive market snapshots. Now, we were just talking about designing a tiny little neighborhood and excluding the freeway and excluding the park and excluding the 7-Eleven and whatever. This is the opposite of that. This is how you get information that's kind of generally, but that goes back a while at the county level, right? So this is the opposite. We were talking this little bitty area, we're talking county, but it could still be really helpful to show within that neighborhood data, or if you go fish out some data from Matrix. So let's look at, all years by quarter. This goes back to 2002, right? I mean, when you're looking for some hardcore data, let's go to Santa Clara County. It defaults to San Mateo. And I'm going to keep all years by quarter. Now, the cool part about this is that look at how little inventory we have, you guys. So when Michelle comes out and says, that's why months to sell is 1.1 in San Jose, 1 month and 1.1 of the next month. I mean, what has been 30 days, like 3 days. So look at this inventory that we used to have. Now, not like these were good years, but they were still more inventory. You can see if I run my mouse over it, you can see every single data point, common interest and single family. Now, if you say my client is not at all interested in common interest, you click on it and it goes away, right? So you can still see all of this data and you can easily download it. We don't even need the snippet. We just download it by going like that, and then it downloads, right? So it's an available graph. It downloads as a PNG. So it just downloads all nice and clean, like if I could drag it over. So that's what it looks like if you wanted to download it. So this is inventory. We have months to sell, right? We have closed sales. We have median prices. Look at that in the top right hand. I mean, oh, right? And then there's average price. I love that because a lot of people ask, we don't do average price a lot. But sometimes if you're in a property that's very unique or coastal, or we've talked about this at the last one, right? There's certain things that make your average price a better look. And sale to list price ratio, median days on market, talk about tight, and then average and median. So when people want to fight about the median versus the average, and you have a client that says, I want the average, you can show it to them and remove condos and townhomes and say, look, it's just a little bit higher in general, right? So anywho, these are all these different stats that are easily available. The data points are all here. It's a really great feature when you're looking for maybe that longer term. I mean, if someone wants to go back to 2002, they want to go back to 2002 by zip code, you're going to have to go get it out of Matrix. I think Matrix has it from 2003. But this is also a great resource, especially if you want to just kind of have a cool graph and you're running low on content for your newsletter, your send outs 1 month. A lot of people, like Mark said, we're hiding these. So,
and Michelle, you can turn off the condo townhome, right? Did you
mention?
Yeah,
I just did.
Okay, just want to make sure.
So you can turn off both. It's not very helpful, but you can do that, and you can kind of. What I like to do is I run my mouse over the last the last entry, and then I snip it with that last one.
With the last one in, yeah, nice.
Yeah, because otherwise you download it and it can no longer be interactive because it's on this site. So it stays if I download it, I lose that. So sometimes I snip it like a particular point in time, like, no, you didn't buy at the height. Let me show you, or hey, you bought here, down here. Like let's buy something again. Yeah, it's time to go. So. Here's that, or 3 years by month if people like a month look, so there's some definitely different options for you. A really great general one because it applies to everybody. Now, what people are going to say is like, that's Santa Clara County, but I live in Palo Alto. What do you have for me? Well, then you go either grab a Oculus report or you grab something out of Matrix. But this is a nice, what's going on out there.
So Michelle, do you see this more as, it could be the icebreaker or the conversation starter, right? As you work them more towards the details of what they're really looking for, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's it's supposed to be. I mean, we do it like that on purpose. Like I said, the first thing someone's going to do is see county and be like, Santa Clara County is way too big. This doesn't mean anything. But call me. Let's talk about your zip code. We always talk about this at the city level. Even we just got off a call in Santa Cruz, right? And someone said, I work Felton. Oh, you weren't on. I work Felton, and there's 2 different parts of it. I was like, you want me to divvy up Felton for you? I mean, okay, but I mean, sure, but we're trying to get the interest. Give me a call, and sure, I'll do Felton
Right.
by area. It's just,
I'm in the
you know,
lower west side of Felton. Okay, we like to keep ourselves a little.
I can't believe you weren't there to like back me up, but I was like,
I was
sure. I
there.
mean,
I was giggling in the background.
I said it's possible, but that's the idea, right? You start off with things, you're sending out really cool content, you're creating things that are unique to you. You put this on your own template and you say, call me, let's talk about your house, right? So we're not trying to solve everything. We're trying to just get some consistency in marketing and content.
And Michelle, you know, I've got a hard stop at 3 o'clock, but people may have some questions, but I'm gonna leave you sorted with this one. How are we going to compare this month's March with last year's March, or this
Oh,
year's
great.
April with last year's April? For folks that are, you know, they're going to get that question. You know, you can't give me this statistic. It was, you know, post-COVID, pre-shelter. You know, what are the good numbers to look at? What charts would you recommend right now as we go through this, you know, transition period?
Right. Jody, with 3 minutes to go, he asked me like the
I know.
wise sky blue question.
Explain statistics in 4 words.
Rude, super rude. Okay, yes, we definitely have an issue. There was a pandemic. There was a pandemic. There was a
If you
beginning of the
hadn't heard.
pandemic. Yeah, so I don't know if this is, you know, you turn on your TV. The problem is that the stats are going to vary, right? So let's get a few things going, right? March 17th was shelter in place. That's kind of the beginning. By June, stats were kind of back on track, right? So let's say that, so March, April, and May are going to be the iffy ones. And the funny part about that is, well, I guess it's not funny, but the interesting part of that is that March was fine when it comes to median sales price, days on market, sale to list price ratio, and closed sales. And so you say, why those? Well, because it was a pipeline, and everything already in the pipeline in the latter part of February and the early part of March, half of March, was fine. Transactions closed. The new listings, TFTs, withdrawals spiked. Those are the problem. So March new listings is from last year's irrelevant. It's only half a month.
Right.
So new listings. Now, next month, I wouldn't really put a lot of stock into any of those stats. Median price, closed sales, you know, new listings. It was, you know, next month's going to be the head scratcher. But, you know, then by May, you start to be comfortable with new listings, not closed sale, you know, so it kind of reverses as you get out of the pandemic. And then in June, we're fine. We were pretty much back. July was just a big regular March, right, for us. So that's what is going on. I think what you were leading me toward are the weeklies, right? So I do want to show people those because this is maybe something that could be helpful. I'm signed into Pro. And up at the top here, you see Aculus Weekly Market Update, right? So that's something we do every week. We promise them by Tuesday, but they're like already up right now, right? So the week ending last week are here. So I click on Santa Clara County, and then I see that there's data as of 2 days ago, right? So this is brand new. We just got these up this afternoon. And it shows you active listings, new listings, change depending by week. And so this, for the next few months, I think is the best bet when you're looking at new listings, pendings, and closed sales. And you can see here that we're comparing to not only last year, but 2 years ago. So for people saying like last year's junk, I don't want to have anything to do with it, not really, depending on the stat and when. But if you're into that, then you can see by week and compare it to the last 2 years. So this is what I'd stick to if you have those clients that really want to be in the know.
Good. And good candidates, these images are good candidates for social media posts. Put it on a postcard, you know, put it on your flyers you're sending out. Once again, conversation starters so that you can really, you know, kick in your relevance as to how you're the expert at what the market's doing, you know, not the Mercury News kind of thing. Hey, one of the best stats, probably the most interesting stat, Santa Clara County, San Mateo County, median sale price for the month of March, top of the list, right?
Well, all-time highs for San Mateo County, Santa Clara County, Monterey County, and San Benito County single-family homes, all-time high, by a lot. by a
By a
lot.
lot. And San Mateo County is knocking on the door of $2 million.
$2 million median. And Monterey is right at $1 million. And people might say, oh, Monterey, well, yeah, you know, but you also have
Pebble Beach.
Salinas, Gonzales, you know, you have some inland there,
Right.
and they're at $1 million. They're right at $1 million. So yeah, and you know, San Benito, Hollister. Woo.
Our buddies in Hollister having a fantastic Q1.
Yeah, but this is the good news. The weekly is provided by county, so you can, you know, you're doing, you know, some work over the hill, or you just have people saying, I would consider Los Gatos and into the mountains. It goes into Santa Cruz County. So,
Right.
you know, it's always great to keep updated on all of our surrounding counties. It's also a reason when people say this is a bubble, and I know we're working on a video for this, Mark, with our partner economist Elliot Eisenberg, to talk about some elements of a bubble and why this is not one. But sometimes showing you what's happening in the greater Bay Area, all 5 counties, you know, you have to step back from Santa Clara County sometime and say, this is just not unique to us. This is a whole kind of economic phenomenon. The real estate markets are all being lifted up by what's happening. So
yeah, on the regional sense and then to the national sense and such. So so I hope we were able to give you a little bit of, you know, do it yourself. Go get the ones that are already pre-made. Either way, you've, you know, tons of options, whether you want to get micro down to the street level. I only want the median sale price along Meridian to give me all 5 counties at one time, and then I'm going to work my way back to what we're looking for. Single family, townhome, condo, mixtures of both. Really, you got a lot of options to play with. Jody, what are we going to talk about next month?
I don't know. I was going to ask everybody really quickly. C.A.R. also puts together things by city. So I'll just ask you guys to do a quick thumbs up. And if you want, I can very quickly show you on the C.A.R. website if you'd like to see where those are. And they actually put infographics together for you. Mark wants to see it, so I'll show you.
Yeah, but the problem is Mark's got to run.
No, it's so I'll do that really quickly. So if you guys got to run, you guys run, and I'll show whoever wants to stay on how to look on C.A.R. And if you guys want to see anything, you know, send us your suggestions. We're here for you guys to show you all about MLS.
Hey, and Jeff just put a little chat in. Got to the meeting late, but you're recording it.
Yes, this is being recorded. And
Jeff's all
we'll
taken
get it up. We'll get it up afterwards. Yeah.
Oh, and if I could, I do have to run too, but Bill,
Yeah.
Powers, yeah. Question there was, can we send this as a non-JPEG? It's no is the answer. No, the web widgets, but there are ways of putting web widgets on your own website. So why don't we connect, because we could get those on your site where they just constantly run and you connect people back to your website versus sending them a static
Great
JPEG.
idea.
So yeah. So Bill, I have to run as well, but I'll hopefully hear from you soon. And let's, you know, if anyone's interested in how to get web widgets on their website, let me know.
Maybe we'll do that for the next one.
Yeah.
We can show you how to do web widgets. Yeah.
Okay.
I knew you would
Great.
get some of that in. Jody,
Yeah.
thank you so much once again.
You're
for
welcome.
letting us play in your playground. We
You
so
are
appreciate it.
welcome.
So
Thanks, you guys. Take care.
be back
All right,
next
and I'll
month.
show you guys the C.A.R. one. So I'm going to share my screen real quick for those of you guys want to see it. This is just the CAR.org website. And if you go over to Industry 360, and they just recently redid this, and you go to shareable and interactive reports, you click on that. There's all kinds of stuff on here. I only, please play around. That's the other thing I encourage all of you to do, is to go onto these websites and just click on stuff. So Dave Walsh showed me how to do this. Click right here, housing market overview. It's going to tell you how to do this, but if you wait and it loads, maybe. This is where you can select your county. So this literally gives you every single city. So if we go to Santa Clara County, I'm going to unclick LA, and I'm going to go to Santa Clara. Then it's going to update itself and show you all of the different cities in Santa Clara County. And you can see there's these different links here. And let's see, we're going to look at San Jose. If you want it to be in a letter, it gives you the Instagram format, and it will give you the Facebook format. Rich, I see your hand up. I'll call you on you in just a second. So if you click on that link, it'll open up a file for you that looks like, well, it gives you files to open. So if you can kind of see the little ones, it gives you different graphics. So I'll click on one and hopefully you guys can see this. It just gave you something to download. So it tells you the median price as of March 2021, how many home sales, it's up almost 50%, which is insane. And the active listings is down about 17%. So it gives you this, click the download button and put it right into your Instagram. This is from C.A.R. I showed some people on Canva, you can probably download this and then put it into a, your own type of listing, or your own marketing. I think if you click on these up here, it will give you, I think, the whole thing for the entire county, and not just a city. So this one should bring up the whole county. And as you can see, every county's on there. So here it is, Santa Clara County, 1.6, and it gives you days on market. It gives you all of that information. And again, this is on the C.A.R. website. Rich, do you have a question?
Yeah, just a quick question. I just missed how you got there from the main C.A.R. website. That's.
Yep. So from C.A.R., you go to Industry 360, and it'll drop all of this down, and you just, there's all different reports, but if you click on shareable and interactive reports, and again, the first one there is housing market overview. And that's the one that I just clicked. There's more on here. This one's called Home Buyer Guide. I've never clicked on some of these, but again, I highly encourage all of you to do, take what Mark was showing you and go and draw little maps for things, play around with all of these. This is LA County. We'll do Santa. This was the buyer guide one, so we'll see how different this looks. We'll go into Santa Clara. Click on San Jose. We'll look at the letter format, and I think this would be something if you had a newsletter. This just puts it into an 8.5 by 11, so it's a little bigger. It's a PDF. So this is a buyer guide for San Jose. So it's telling you 1, 2, 3, 4 plus bedrooms. It's giving you the breakdown by size of home. So this is also helpful if you had a medium price 575 is laughable in San Jose. If maybe not, I don't know. But this really breaks it down and helps a buyer. I don't know if there's a seller one, but again, I highly encourage you to go on to the C.A.R. website and to the MLS. Here's a luxury market if you're selling 3+ million. Any other questions that you've got? Otherwise, it looks like next month we'll show you guys how to do web widgets, how to put those on. And if there's any deeper dives, please send us an email, education@SCAR.com, or email me directly, Jodee, Jodee @SCAR.com, and let us know what you want to hear. This was recorded, so we'll get this recording out to everybody probably by the end of the week.